Okay, welcome. We're going to be talking about Euphemia, which is a paint program that's about to be released in its alpha version. It's hosted on GitHub, so it's open source. And it's just the beginning of something, of a project that's going to be quite interesting. But here we're going to talk about gradients. I think the gradient implementation in here is pretty neat. And it might be useful for somebody, especially somebody developing a program like this, to see what the implementation is in this particular case, what we've come up with here. So I'm going to create a new document, and I'm just going to create a filled-in rectangle and commit it to the image. And then I'm going to select Gradient Fill, and we'll look at the conical first, but you can see that there's all these standard fills, and then we've got linear, radial, and conical. So let's look at conical. So the idea here is that conical is a gradient that goes around in a circle like this, and it has an angle that you can adjust. The line isn't quite right on the lining up with the angle right now, but you can still adjust the angle. And then you have intermediate points where you can specify colors around this circle. In this particular case, we're going to drag new ones off of here. We can create new ones, and then you double click them to set a color. We're just going to play with two for now, so I'm going to get rid of this one by just dropping it back there. And by default this has come up black, so I'm going to change the color at the start point and the color at the other end, and you can see how it's changed here, and you can see I can play with where that color is in the circle. If I go like that, it gives me more of an ability to play with it. And I'm still adjusting the angle, I'm adjusting where the color is, and like so. So that's one way of doing a conical. I'm going to cancel this one, and then we'll do a radial, and the radial I think is implemented even nicer. So we start off with the same start and end handles. And in this case, you're changing the focus area, and we can create those additional color points. So we'll do the same things before. We'll select the gold color for each end, like so, and I can play with it like so just by moving these handles around. You can't move this handle around. That's just the where you clicked to originally start it, and at this point it's being used for the factory of handles. So, but I can change a number of things. The focal point, for example, and I can change it. I can have it multiple colors. And finally, we're going to do the linear one. Oops, I just committed that, so I'll undo. Linear, and again it uses the same concept. You have a start point, end point. In this case you can move both ends, and I can create handles off of this point here, and they stay on this line. And we'll play with the gold colors again. I could add in any number of handles or intermediate stop points to create any number of colors, transition colors. And I can change the turn reflect on, and you'll see what the difference is when I bring these in close. It's reflecting them off. And if I check that to spread, changes, and then if I set it to pad spread, changes again. You can see that it took away the reflection. So that's the gradient, and it works off of a polygon for fill. So if I wanted to, I could draw a filled polygon. In other words, in a regular shape. like so, and commit that. And if I wanted to gradient fill on that, it would work over that entire polygon, like so. And that's the end of this little demonstration of gradient fill. What I find really interesting is if you're thinking what would you use a gradient fill for, one example would be you could set up a background for a fire. So if you're going to illustrate a fire, you can do a gradient, from red to yellow, for example, and then use that as a background and then pixelate over top of it to give it, the kind of look that makes it look like a fire. So that's one idea anyway. So the idea is that you can just cut and paste sections of a gradient. It might be useful for, particularly for backgrounds of something that you're illustrating. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have more in the future. Thanks, bye.